The Internet, a vast and infinite digital universe where life blooms and then burns out. Of the over 1.1 billion websites on the Internet as of 2024, less than 20% are active and see regular traffic. The rest is effectively a graveyard. Thousands upon thousands of websites act as time capsules, a snapshot of online culture from the late 1990s to the early 2010s, when the internet was a frontier, a wild west of scattered niches and small tight-knit communities. In this video, I look at a handful of websites that are now entirely defunct, to see what went on in the far corners of the internet back then. I tried my best to cover more obscure material, so brew your tea, get comfortable, and let's begin. Have you ever thought about buying property on the moon? Neither have I, but that's why you and I haven't made millions selling pieces of the moon. In 1980, a car salesman named Dennis Hope found a loophole in the 1967 Outer Space International Treaty. No country's government could stake a claim on the moon, but that treaty didn't say anything about individual people, so Dennis claimed the moon and all planets in the solar system. His business, the Lunar Embassy, claimed to have sold about $50 million worth of land on the moon as of 2009. He even claimed that US Presidents Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan were among his customers. Now, the former website, moonestates.com, was run by a friend of Dennis Hope who got permission to sell extraterrestrial land in the United Kingdom. The website's front page mentioned Dennis Hope's backstory, and below that also said, "All our products carry a no questions asked, 30-day money-back guarantee. If for any reason you are unhappy with your purchase, please return it and we will refund your money, less postage and packing. If you weren't happy with the part of the moon or planet you received, just return the deed and you'll get your money back." Great customer service, don't you think? Sadly, most of the site's pages weren't archived, so the Wayback Machine just took me to a lot of dead ends. However, the site once offered land deeds for the moon, Mars, and Venus, as well as space-related paraphernalia that could be sent along with the deed. The front page mentioned that Dennis Hope had claimed every planet and every moon, but the site only sold deeds for the moon, Mars, and Venus. So I guess Mercury and everything beyond Jupiter hadn't reached the UK yet. At the bottom was a signature by Francis P. Williams, whose title was Lunar Ambassador to the United Kingdom. I looked him up to see what else I could learn, and found some internet drama from back in the day. According to a post on Dennis Hope's website, lunaремbassy.com, Lunar Estates was once a legitimate partner, but not anymore. At some point, Francis Williams let his daughter take over the business, and she began selling properties to customers outside of the UK, which, according to Dennis, overstepped the boundaries set with other ambassadors and ruined a very long-standing relationship between the Lunar Embassy and moonestates.com. Lunar Embassy, whose site is still up as of this video being made in 2024, also said that Moon Estates was no longer permitted to sell extraterrestrial real estate, but had gone rogue and continued to do so anyway. It's also worth mentioning that Lunar Estates used the American English spelling of words, and the domain didn't end with .uk or .co.uk. I think this made sense since Francis Williams was called an ambassador to the UK. The guy was probably from the US. The site kept selling real estate and went through a few redesigns over the years, but it went down around late 2022. Today, it redirects to a Shopify store with a single product. 1 lunar acre, digital certificate. £15. I passed on it because I don't even own land on Earth yet, but this whole thing was an interesting saga around an even more interesting concept. Offbeat religious websites are nothing new if you've been on the internet for a while. LittlePromisedLand.com used to be home to the Christian Patriarchs, a fundamentalist group based in Queensland, Australia, who, in their words, followed the way of the early Christian church. They were quite critical of the decline of the patriarchal society, divorcees, liberals, modern Christianity, and technology. That last one is just a little bit ironic because they had a website with quite a bit of content and an email address for people to reach out to them with questions and donations. A very official sounding email address at hotmail.com. The premise of their beliefs was that true Christianity, or what they viewed as such, was in crisis and a dark age was coming. They saw free trade and the internet as tools used by a new world order to condition people for a Soviet-style society. According to them, when the world ends, only those who have remained undeceived are called out to escape the wrath to come. At the very bottom of their landing page is a mission statement. The purpose of this site is to take those who are called away from this modernistic, pseudo-Christian, Western faith to God's true faith, the patriarchal Christian faith based on God's law. We want to disappear as much as possible from this crazy computer world to a little promised land where we can live out our patriarchal ways of the living God outside the system. The computer, for us, is simply, at this stage, a means to achieving a godly end. I guess that explains the website and email. A page called Blueprint for a Community once again emphasized the importance of an obedient, male-dominated community. It's a neat little rabbit hole if you ever decide to go looking for one. I took a look at their newsletter, and one issue called for donations to a New Covenant Church of God in India. The New Covenant Church of God had partnered with the Patriarchs to open an orphanage called the Patriarchs Caring Children's Home. I looked it up to see if I could learn anything about that. There is an organization today called the New Covenant Church, based in Delhi. But that one looks to have started in the early 2010s, so it's a different group. I couldn't find anything with the exact name, nor anything that references the Patriarchs. I also didn't find anything about the Patriarchs Caring Children's Home orphanage either, such as any evidence that it existed. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt though, because Southeast Asia has many tiny, unincorporated communities that aren't widely known. I'm also not familiar with Hindi, Marathi, or any Indian languages, so if there are sources written only in those languages, I might have missed them. Leave a comment if you find something and I'll be sure to pin it. Everything I saw, from the radical beliefs to the emphasis on a small community to disconnecting from modern beliefs and lifestyles, suggested that they wanted to truly go off the grid, like a different flavor of doomsday preppers. Some might even call them a cult. Looking back, it looks like they got around to it because the site disappeared from the internet after 2006, and a search today for the Christian Patriarchs gives you totally unrelated results. In the mid-2000s, a California man named Jeff decided that the actor Brad Pitt was ugly. His website, once found at bradpitt.reallybites.com, was a hub for like-minded individuals to get together over their shared belief of Brad Pitt being ugly. Jeff claimed to have left his job as a manager at a Baskin-Robbins store to pursue his passion full-time, spending upward of 10 hours a day handing out flyers. He also mentioned that he was the founder and president of the Brad Pitt is Ugly Foundation, implying that he started a non-profit for the purpose of furthering his mission. I looked up this name to see if it existed. I found nothing. In the US, an employer identification number, or an EIN, once assigned to an organization is permanent. Even if that organization closes, it never goes away. Since there was no EIN for the Brad Pitt is Ugly Foundation, it never existed. Officially, at least. Jeff also mentioned on the site that he was a Capricorn and his hobbies included internet surfing, website design, Nerf basketball, online gambling, pinball, boogie boarding, and ping pong. Farther down, he talked highly of his girlfriend, Jessica, whom he met on the internet but has yet to meet in person. According to him, they originally met on a service for woohooing over the phone, but quickly fell in love. They talked every night and were planning to meet up soon. Another figure in Jeff's life was his younger brother, who helped him pass out flyers for the Brad Pitt is Ugly Foundation. The website had a page called What is Angelina Jolie Thinking? In it, Jeff revealed himself as a big fan of the actress but criticized her for dating Brad Pitt, and also Brad for leaving Jennifer Aniston, among the other criticisms he has of him. There was also another page just ominously titled Fascism, where he made some big-brain statements like comparing America's acceptance of Brad Pitt to 1930s Germany's acceptance of a certain Austrian painter's ideology. But he ended with a genuinely decent bit of advice, saying, "Don't follow trends and patterns. Don't care what other people say. Go with what you genuinely feel and know. Be your own person." The last thing on the navigation menu was a message board, so it turned out that there were other people who agreed and joined his movement. I found at least a handful of users on the board, but I'm not going to show it here because, like most other obscure internet forums, it's full of slurs. Okay, so with this one, I'm going with 80% sure that this website is satire, and 20% that Jeff was just a radical dude. Now, if dead websites from long ago really make you curious, what if I told you some come back online years later with a strange twist to them? If you want to dig into the bizarre truth behind a UK disability website and a Vietnamese history website, check out my other videos where I dive into dialuk.info and hanoispiritofplace.com.